Good morning, good-looking people, and you're good-looking because you're always looking, and of course, you are finding the positive in everything and in everybody. Hope you're well. Hope you had a great week. Today we're doing the Hayom Yom for Shabbos, the 29th of Adar. And today's Hayom Yom is all about chaim, to life. And the Hayom Yom is very self-explanatory, so we'll read it inside, but it's important to remember a couple things as we read it. First of all, the first part of the Hayom Yom is instructions about Shabbos and the Haftorahs. And then the main Hayom Yom is talking about different ways on how to respond to people when you say l'chaim. One is l'chaim tovim u'shalom, and the other one is l'chaim v'livracha. And we'll discuss both of them. No need to explain them up front because they're self-explanatory. But the idea of today's Hayom Yom is to remember that when we drink wine, we loosen up. And it says, when wine enters, the secret emerge. So the idea of today is to talk about l'chaim, how it should come from a positive place. It should go to a positive place. And also to have a soft heart in the process. Let's read it inside. It says, first of all, for the first part, for the 29th of Adar Aleph, the Haftorah for Shabbos, Parshas Shkolim begins with Vayichras Yehoyada, which is in Malachim. At its conclusion, the Maftir adds the first and the last verses of Haftorah, beginning Vayomer Loi Machar Chodesh. So, just to stop right there, because Rosh Chodesh comes right after Shabbos, which is on Sunday, so technically we would read usually a different Haftarah for Machar Chodesh. But the Chiddush here that was being brought out is being that it's a special Shabbos and it has its own Haftarah that year as Parshas Shkolim. We still read that special Haftarah for Parshas Shkolim, but we added the extra verses for Machar Chodesh. Second part. On the Shabbos preceding Rosh Chodesh, we blessed the new month of Adar. And this year, in 1943, they were blessing the month of Adar Sheni at this point. It is our custom to recite the entire book of Tehillim early in the morning and hold a farbrengen on that day. And we talk about the trifecta on Shabbos, Mavorchim, to get up and say Tehillim with a minyan, to say Chassidus and learn some basic Chassidus that everybody can understand after davening. And it's a day of farbrengen, and Tehillim has a segula for the entire family, for your children, for your grandchildren, and also to try and work on the Shnei Mikra V'Chartagim on Shabbos to read both the Hebrew twice and the Aramaic once. For the Hayom Yom portion, there are two common responses to the traditional toast of l'chaim, which means to life. A, l'chaim tovim u'shalom, for a good life and for peace. The explanation for this blessing is that the Torah's first mention of drinking wine, where it says it's talking about Noach, it says involved negative consequences. Similarly, according to one view, the tree of knowledge, which was subject to Adam's sin, was a grapevine. Hence, when a person drinks, we bless them that the wine should lead to a good life. So the first part is to say, l'chaim tovim u'shalom. And we're focusing on blessings and for good life, because what we read about in the Torah, it talks about Noach, the sin of Noach, and also it talks about the issue of the tree of knowledge, and both of those had to do with wine, and therefore the emphasis is when you drink wine, it should actually be for good and for peace. The second response for l'chaim, it says here, the Magen HaMezrich would respond, l'chaim v'livracha, for life and for blessing. Once at a farbrengen attended by the Alter Rebbe, a chassid said l'chaim, and the Alter Rebbe responded to him, l'chaim v'livracha. After the farbrengen, the Chassidim discussed the possible reasons for this version, which they had just heard for the very first time. And here's the response. One of the Chassidim commented that since when wine enters, the secrets emerge, which in terms of one's labors and self-refinement signifies the revelations of one's spiritual emotion, one stands in the need of blessing that this endeavor should succeed. Moreover, that the Chassid continue with the wording of the blessing, l'chaim v'livracha, for life and for blessing. And he said, if you look at the Hebrew word in the Holy Tongue, livracha, it shares the same words as lev raka, which means a heart that is soft. And the Hasidim wish each other that a heart that is sensitive and responsive to a spiritual stimuli. So, what was being said, why l'chaim v'levracha, when the Hasidim were talking about, if you take the word levracha and you break it up and change it to levraka, which means a soft heart, that when you're wishing yourself, maybe you drink too much, you wish yourself. When you wish your other friend, l'chaim v'levracha, that you're also wishing him a soft heart, that the words should come out from a soft place. It should enter a soft place as well to give each other chizuk and strengthen them. Now the last part is very interesting. That Tzemach Tzedek commented on this and he said, such words can only come from a chassid who had davened as a Chabad chassid should and toiled avodah for over 30 years. So the Tzemach Tzedek is saying, the only way somebody could have come up with that idea of l'chaim v'levracha and levraka is only if they had studied and they davened and worked on themselves for 30 years. It's amazing. So the message of the day, saying l'chaim is great, and it's a way to promote being with your friends and your family and encouraging others to improve as we do in Farbrengens. And it's a great setting, but it also needs to be done properly with the right mindset, with the right ideas, where we want it to be for good and for peace and should be a soft heart. And the idea is when it comes to the time of Mashiach, which we are in now, it says the era would change, that where we had all these hearts of stone, in the time of Mashiach, we're going to become more sensitive, more sensitized to things, so that the heart of stone will be turned to a heart of flesh. And through being warm with people and being in a time of Mashiach that's sensitive, it says here, at the time of Mashiach, spirituality will not be just in our heads, for our hearts will respond sensitively and we will all understand and be warm to each other. Have a great week and a successful week, and wishing you all the best of l'chaim tovim, l'shalom, and l'chaim v'levracha.